to heal a nation is the greatest power. Destruction is blowing over this land, and now the earth is trembling with man's oppression of man. Now the time comes to sit down and rediscover what's life. Show the world the true meaning of real love, power, not strife. Right now, all of them who does worship, greed and vanity must bow. Unity is the banner, so come together, I say. And this love is for freedom, it's growing stronger each day. Come on, lift your voice with a feeling of satisfaction as one, and let we move with a purpose, all freedom lovers. Hold tight, stepping out of the darkness with one direction inside.
Hello and welcome to a new Asafo, the new Asafo show. My name is Brother Ifawumi Oshundele, and my other co-host. Are you there, brother?
Yes, I am, Brother Wole Ifa. And on this week's edition of the show, we will talk about some of the topical issues of this week in the Pan-African world, and have in-studio guests, the ANU's priestly order student body, better known as the Umfundi, and we'll have a special feature with a first-time author, and we'll get into that right after we get into this. But first, the African pledge. Brother Ifawumi?
Yes. We will remember the humanity, glory, and suffering of our ancestors and honor the struggle of our fathers. We will strive to bring new value and new life to our people. We will have peace and harmony among us. We will be loving, sharing, and creative. We will work, study, and listen, so we may learn so that we may teach. We will cultivate self-reliance. We will struggle to resurrect and unify our homeland. We will raise many children for our nation. We will have discipline, patience, devotion, and courage. We will live as models to provide new direction for our people. We will be free and self-determining. We are African people. We will win. We will win. We will win.
Ashe, ashe, ashe-o. Hotel. Beautiful job, Brother Ifawumi.
Thank you, brother.
Sweet. I guess we, along with the rest of the nation, are very concerned with the upcoming political battle in our government between will the government shut down or won't it? Last week, the Congressional Black Caucus let out a statement, but Brother Ifawumi, did you have something to say?
Yes, I do. I'm actually surprised that we still have a Congressional Black Caucus, because after all, they have come out and said nothing about President Obama's policies thus far, especially his foreign policy. That foreign policy is killing African men, women, and children. Africa, that's right over there in Africa, over there subjected our people to a new colonialism. So I thought they disbanded.
Brother Ifawumi, as usual, you go straight to the jugular. Yeah, I understand that the Black Caucus is still around and that they were informed not to speak on that issue, which raises a lot of concerns about our level of representation. But last week they let out a statement, and it said that our government will shut down for the first time in 17 years, hurting our economy and placing the security of Americans across this country in jeopardy, but not passing a responsible continuing resolution. By not passing that resolution, the House majority has once again played partisan politics over doing what is best for the American people. The statement goes on to say that the jobs of more than 800,000 federal employees are at risk, causing them to face uncertainty as to how they will meet their obligations, home loans to lower and middle class income families in rural communities. Small businesses and farmers will be put on hold, and job creation will slow down considerably, endangering our fragile economy. Now, this is the word from the Congressional Black Caucus's chair, Marcia Fudge. She goes on to say, and then I think we should chat about it. After 42 failed attempts to repeal and defund the Affordable Care Act, which is better known as Obamacare, the House majority has chosen to set down our government rather than work with the president and the House Democrats to improve the law. Americans have already begun receiving benefits from the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, by voting to delay the launch of the insurance exchanges next week. The Republicans are trying to stop millions of Americans from getting the health care that they need. And that's the statement coming out from the Congressional Black Caucus. Brother Ifawumi, let's talk on this.
I got a question now, actually for the listener, just to ponder a minute. Do anybody, and I mean anybody throughout Black America, actually think that Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act is that going to improve medical racism? Everybody keeps talking about this, the level of care going to improve, but that's not going to remove racism out of all these different treatments. Most of the time, African Americans are always at the end of the line for some of these new medical treatments that they have available. So I don't think that the Obamacare it's going to be any kind of parade for African Americans who suffer from high blood pressure, diabetes, sickle cell anemia. It's not going to solve the level of their care. That's what I'm concerned about.
I think you have a good point there, brother. In fact, even if we get care with this Western medical system, they tend to want to treat illnesses and ailments as opposed to cure them. So it's a continuation of Western capitalism / medicine. But it seems that many people are willing to give up their own chances of health care and watch their family die because they don't want to see poor people and people of color getting a chance to have health care.
Well, poor people, and that includes black people as well, are dying now. They've been dying like that for the past, 50 years? 50, 60 years?
I think
the lack of care.
Somebody said the last 400. Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head, brother, as usual. I just wanted to, on the second issue, I just wanted to read a quick statement by our only African Nobel laureate in literature. And actually, he's not the only one. I think there's a white South African woman. But I'm referring to Professor Wole Soyinka. Now, just last Friday, the professor and Nobel laureate condemned last weekend's terrorist attack at the Westgate Mall in Nairobi, Kenya. Actually, the professor was scheduled to be there, but because of a complication, he wasn't there on time, and the attack led to the death of prominent Ghanaian writer and diplomat, Professor Kofi Awonan, who is very, very popular and good friend of Professor Soyinka. And Soyinka, he describes the attack of those assailants on the mall as carriers of a lethal virus that corrupts the human soul and spirit. And as for their claims of faith, they invoke divine authority solely as a hypocritical cover for innate psychopathic tendencies. Their deeds and utterances profane the very name of God. That's what the professor had to say on that. Ifawumi, any quick words on that before we talk about our guests for this weekend?
Yes, but first of all, peace and blessings toward the professor. I actually felt those words deep down on which he described how he described how he felt. But what you do not realize is that this group of people, these group of mercenaries, are most times supported by our government. I was really shocked and surprised when some of the survivors described many of these terrorists that went up in there. I feel now that we have so many in our community with walking around, and our global community walking around with many of these foreign religions, Islam, Judaism, Christianity in Africa. I just feel that most of those people that are in there doing those things right now is a detriment to the people already there, being that they're so-called in the same religion. They're in the same religion. Many of our African brothers over there do not understand the racism that's involved with Al-Islam, Judaism, and other groups that come in there to steal, rape, and anything else that they can do with the support of white European governments. This is going to be a very, very long road until we as original people decide we are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We cannot become just a doormat for everything else that's on this earth. Ashe. And I must say, while you shoot straight from the hip,
and some people it may be strong and catch them off guard. The things you say do have historical, we can cite historical evidences and historical events for the rape plunder of the continent by each of the groups you've talked about and even others. And let's not talk about the Chinese invasion, but let's talk about what's coming up on our next segment right after this coming break. We are going to be blessed to have the ANU priestly order student body, some representatives, talk to us in great detail about their journey to the faith, the type of things they are doing in the ANU order in terms of first working on themselves before working with others in the spirits. And we will talk to our star student, Sister Felicia Tarael Anu, who's coming out with her first book entitled The Natural Hair Care for Black Women. And we're going to get into all of that on the other side of the break. Brother Ifawumi.
Yes.
Okay, I know you have a lot of views on this issue about natural hair.
Oh, of course.
And we're looking forward to them, too.
Okay. Okay.
So we're going to take our first break now, and then we're going to come back with the students of the ANU order.
According to legend, there was a time when Earth was pure, free of all evil, unicorns, pearl-paved pathways, skies so bright, in the night no problem. When only positivity polluted the conscience, and something went wrong. My name is Insight. Let's go. Waterfall slows down, freeze, the sun leaves. Cumulus clouds overshadow the area. A cave had appeared with a glowing interior. Inferior primates appeared at the seashore. Search for the knowledge in a natural resource. Mind-file power in the force of a narrow path leads to sacred travelers that expanded to a huge community. Trees cloud down, make room for you and me. Machinery we use spread more pollution. Scientific breakthroughs form illusions. Positive intentions make the negative easy. Sleazy, spectacular species. Reach keys in life, mixing your own formula. Curing the conscious, develop the medicine. Practical principles expose better things. It's the God. Of your group. It's the God.
It is 18 minutes after the hour, and you are here with the ANU Asafo show with your host. I'm Brother Wole Ifa, and my co-host
Ifawumi Oshudele.
Yes, and we're here with the ANU students. We're here with the students of the ANU priestly order. And as I said, we have one student who's just come out with a new book, and we would like to see if she is available. Sister Felicia, are you there?
Yes, Brother Willie, I'm here. How are you? I
am great. How are you today?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Mm-hmm. What you've done is so fantastic. We brothers, let me just try to speak for all of us just quickly before I go any further. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So many of us appreciate the sister in their natural state, wearing the crown.
That's right.
And we're just 100% behind you. But could you first start off by telling us
thank you.
About your road to the faith and then your road to the concept of creating this book that's very needed?
Yes, yes. Well, first, I would say my spirituality, I think, led me to this because about a year or two ago, about 2.5 years ago, that's when I started studying African traditional spirituality. And prior to that, though, my spirit was speaking to me like I needed to start to make some changes And I know it's very small on the surface, but one of those things is like I needed to tap more into my natural self. So I started questioning everything. I had a chemical relaxer for years and years and years, up until about 2.5 years ago. And I wanted to get more connected with my natural self. So I transitioned out of the chemical relaxer. I was now curious about spirituality. So I was seeking out African traditional spirituality, changing my diet. So it was like a shift in myself where I started to learn all these things. And I was always thinking that, well, if I knew these things when I was younger, what position would I be in today? So I wanted to kind of share this with young women, because at that fertile age, they can do anything, when they become full-blown adults and women. So everything I'm learning, that I've learned through the Assaan-ANU order, I wanted to kind of share that with our young women, as well as, of course, the practical aspects of the hair. But I kind of wanted to speak to the spirituality that's connected to it, the metaphysics behind it a little bit, as well as that whole, the physical, the practical aspects of caring for hair. But that's what led me to it. But, of course, my greatest inspiration is my family. And go without saying that gave me the guidance and the wisdom and the information to even get me to write this book. So it was like a small idea, but my family was the greatest inspiration behind this actually happening. So without them, this would not even be possible.
Outstanding. And Ashe. I would like to have a question. Is the wearing of the weaves, the wigs, and the perms, is that a spiritual issue for black women?
I believe so. As we learn, spirituality is in everything. So that's what I was starting to realize with my experience going through my hair. Like, as soon as I got rid of the chemicals, I felt that I was more connected with the elements. I was more connected with nature. I just felt like I was more in tune. So chemicals can interrupt and disrupt that flow of your connection with your higher self, because, again, these chemicals are sitting on top of your head, and then they get absorbed into your bloodstream and absorbed into your brain, and this is where your pineal gland is, your brain function. This is also where your ori resides. So when you manipulate the function of your natural flow of your brain function and even the aspects of your spirit body, your ori, it disrupts that connection. So it disrupts your melanin flow. It disrupts your thinking. So I just noticed that as soon as I started to make the shift physically, even if it was just, okay, now my hair's stronger and everything, but it was also a spiritual side that I saw. Like, I can think more clear. I don't have as much confusion now, because I don't have the synthetic material on top of my head that's disrupting my brain function and my perception of things, again, because it affects your pineal. And I speak about this in the book in more detail. And even with weaves and wigs, I know that that's not a chemical that's on top of it being absorbed into your head, but they're also synthetically treated, and the chemicals that are on weaves and wigs can cause asthma, all sorts of dysfunctions. And again, it doesn't allow your hair to breathe and be exposed to the elements of nature. So it just showed me that it was a holistic experience. It wasn't just, okay, I'm going to get rid of this chemical and now I have stronger and natural hair and I'm going to make a YouTube video. It was like a whole experience that kind of opened me up to other things. So it was a door opener. So from there it was like, okay, since I'm doing this natural, now I can see a little better. My pineal function is better. I can see things better conceptually. So let me start eating healthier. So I eat healthier. Now what does that open me up to? Now, okay, let's get back into my natural way of being. So now I'm studying African spirituality. So that was another reason why it was kind of like, when you take one small step trying to be more in tune with your natural self, it kind of opens up the door of your awareness to other things that you may need to change in your life. So again, that was another reason why I kind of wanted to reach the younger women. But again, it's for all women. But again, I always think, if I knew these things when I was younger, what position would I be in now? So.
Ashe. Also, using those chemical relaxers, there may be some physical maladies as well, a host of physical maladies and diseases, resulting diseases. from using those chemical relaxers upon the head. There's a high incidence of black women with cancers. And even when I'm in the store sometimes, I see many of our black women have shaved all of their hair off because they're going through chemical, those cancer treatments. And they're losing their, I forget the process of them losing their hair. The chemotherapy.
Chemotherapy, yep.
Yes. Causes them to lose their hair. And it's become a crown issue. And I say it's a crown issue, it's because it's a step. You use the chemical on your hair, and the scalp absorbs this chemical that affects the ori. Then it affects you physically. Is it worth it? I mean, is the right idea, is it really worth it?
I don't believe so. Now, this is coming from someone who had the chemicals themselves, only 2.5 years ago. And it takes a while to detox yourself from these chemicals. So it's not just as soon as it comes out, you're clear. Your body still has to rid itself of this chemical, especially if you've been relaxing your hair like most black women do for generations, in years and years. So it's definitely not worth it at all, because, like you said, I've done so much research. You're going to have a chapter on chemicals in natural hair for young women, and it's linked to so many ailments and issues like uterine fibroids. It causes early puberty in our young girls. Again, cancer, and mainly with the stylists as well, because they're the ones who are exposed to this chemical on a regular basis because they apply it to their clients' hair. So they have a high incidence of cancer rates, or just being asthma, being exposed to certain toxins on a daily basis. But in total, I don't think it's worth it, because I think the thing to do is question yourself as to why you're doing it. Because the problem is when you have a relaxer, like I don't even remember when I first got a relaxer. I probably was in maybe the 5th, 4th grade. This is just a tradition that's carried through your family, so no one questions it. So now it's the time to start questioning these things, like what you're putting into your body, whether it's food or chemical on top of your head, to see what it is, because I think that is a part of the problem, that some people are just misinformed, that they just don't have the information that says, okay, well, if you want to put a chemical in your hair, at least be aware of this is what it can do. So in Natural Hair for Young Women, I kind of outline it in a chapter, specifically on chemicals, that this is what these chemicals can do to your body, your spirit body, physically, because people just aren't aware. They think, oh, it's just something that makes your hair straight. And then another piece, too, I feel is also that that process where you want to imitate what you feel is beauty in terms of this society, like long hair and straight hair. So everybody wants to have that look. And again, I still don't think that's worth it either, because I, myself, had the relaxed stylist in corporate America, and when I made the shift, at first I was scared, but when you question yourself, it's because of those reasons. It can stem from low self-esteem. You don't think you're going to be pretty with your natural hair. You don't think you're going to look beautiful with your natural self. Men might not like you. It's all these reasons that run through women's heads when they think of transitioning out of their chemicals, especially if they've done it since they were kids. So it's twofold. Some women just aren't informed. They could be very aware of their surroundings and everything, but just don't have all the information. But then some women may think, they won't fit into their environment, or they won't be accepted. It's that issue of trying to be assimilated into this society where everything on television tells you that, straight and long is beautiful, and curly and tight is kinky and unattractive, or dark skin, and, that's not the image of beauty. So this book is where I'm trying to show you that is very beautiful. There's power in your natural hair. There's power in your black skin, your melanin. So I'm trying to, give this to our younger women to see this, to kind of like show them the truth behind things, instead of them just looking at the media and TV and accepting that as this is what you should model yourself after.
Outstanding. And I feel that it's groundbreaking what you're doing. It is definitely groundbreaking for us to go back home with our hair. We just don't go back home with a spirituality or a culture. We got to go back home with it all. I mean, hair and all. Now, I can speak for black men for having experience with creamy crack or chemicals. I call it creamy crack. Everybody I know have had a Jerry curl. You know, I had a Jerry curl.
I had one myself.
And
I thankfully never went that way.
I had a Jerry curl, and I thought I was Flash. I had my Jerry curl, and I had it going on. You can tell me I wasn't a Mac Daddy, but I had to eventually realize after I started noticing changes, and it's with a lot of black men, and I think I should be speaking more from the male perspective and dealing with creamy crack. What it left me with, you know, that my hair wouldn't grow back. You know, I had bald like alopecia. You know, I was bald in certain spots, so I got tired of it. You know, trying to get it to shift here. Okay, all right, it's not going to grow right here in this big ugly patch here. This is damage here. So what I ended up doing was now I'm a shaved head. I wear a shaved head. And you see all my strong African features. I've been told they look good.
Back to nature. You know, if I were me, I have to admit, even though I never went that way, there was a short period of time I thought it was cool. I wanted the style, and until the jokes started happening. You know, I wanted to comment. I got a copy of the Natural Hair for Young Women.
Outstanding.
Mm-hmm. And it's great. It's a book. First, it's under $10. And let me just go through and tell you in the 9 chapters. The first one is what is black hair. Chapter 2, melanin. Chapter 3, ether hair. Chapter 4, the history of our hair. Chapter 5, the harmful effects of chemicals in hair care products. We talked about that. Chapter 6, diets for healthy hair and overall wellness. Diets for having healthy hair. Chapter 7, natural hair maintenance. Chapter 8, natural hair texture, types, and different products for the different types of hair you have. And then chapter 9, it's a style gallery in which Sister Felicia is highlighting different natural hair salons throughout the country, including here in my hometown of New Orleans, where the Beauty on the Bay salon is down here and doing well. I understand the sister's been talking about opening up a new shop. Oh. But so the natural hair thing is really growing, brother.
Yeah.
Yes. And I have another question. What message can you share with the black man who suffers 25 years later from the hair texturizers? I'm sure it's probably the same message that you share with our sisters. But you see a lot of shaved heads running around here. That's not a fashion statement. I want to get that out first of all. It's not a fashion statement. It's the damage from those Jerry curls and those hair texturizers that men have used, that we have used. And some of us suffer because our hair is so thin in certain spots. As we look better, we just go ahead and just shave it all off. So basically, this book is not just for women.
Oh, no, absolutely. Well, hopefully the era of men getting Jerry curls and texturizers is over.
I hope it is, because I'm not going back.
Exactly. But, yeah, definitely. It's the same message even to men, say it's for men. Because I do believe some teenagers, they do get, I did do a focus group with teenage girls, and they were saying how some guys will still get a relaxer to make their hair look extra wavy or something like that. So I guess for them it was like some type of fashion statement. So definitely, I would definitely give the same message because they are still applying chemicals to their hair. And again, definitely, if you're suffering 25 years later, I would suggest to first stop the chemical because again, it takes a while for these chemicals to remove themselves from your system. Especially if you've been doing it for years and years and years. And then it takes a while for your texture to grow in and grow in properly. And then also your diet has an effect on how your hair will grow in. So, yeah, my first thing I would suggest is to just remove the chemicals, just stop, transition out of them. especially for a man, it's a little easier because you can just shave your hair, like you said, and go bald. But then start the process of also detoxing yourself from other chemicals that you may put into your body, like certain foods that aren't healthy for you, to monitor that whole process so that you can get back to your natural self. So for men, I think it's a little easier because most men nowadays aren't, wearing the jerry coat, sexualizes too much. But again, if you are, I do suggest that they get a copy of the book as well. Check out the chemical section because they might not want to, check out the style gallery or anything like that. But the chemical section would definitely help the men who may not be aware of that, these chemicals can affect them a little bit more than they think.
Ashe. Sister Felicia, I understand we have a question that was called in from Whisper Win. It's a quick question. It asks about the use of wigs, especially in ancient Kemet, by members of the royal pharaonic families. That's a pretty quick question, and I'll have another one for you right after you finish with that one.
Okay, what is she asking about, wigs?
Were wigs used in the pharaonic royal houses of Kemet? I don't know what that has to do exactly with your book, but do you know if they were used, and if so, for what capacity?
Well, yes, I do speak about the history of our hair, and in the book as well, like you mentioned, it's a chapter there. So I do touch on that. And our ancient Egyptian ancestors, they did also wear wigs. A lot of the royalty did wear wigs, but they also did wear their hair, in especially the royalty, in cornrows and braids, even for weddings. Unlike today, natural hair or braids or cornrows are frowned upon for like a wedding style, something that's of a royal setting. So yes, it was done even back in those times, but it wasn't. We were at I would say back then we were at a higher level of awareness and just a higher place. Where nowadays it's kind of like we're not at the same level like as we were back then. So now these wigs and weaves are chemically treated with all these foreign substances that we're not even aware of. Because most of I could research was that some of the treatments that they put on these wigs and weaves have chemicals on that can lead to cancer because you're inhaling these fumes all the time. Even if you're applying them to someone else's hair, you can be affected by it. So I'm not as sure exactly what our ancient ancestors did with their wigs and weaves, if they were synthetic or natural or whatever. But I do know current day they do have harmful chemicals in them that can affect you internally.
Ashe. And obviously I haven't gotten through all of your book. But I have read enough to know that your style of presenting the information, short, clear, concise, to the point. You use bullets when possible. So it's something that different reading levels, people with different reading levels can appreciate, and it's packed with information. But my next question is about that writing process. I can't ask you to compare because this is your first book, but how is it publishing a book, especially with the ANU order? And a question I think a lot of people have, how is it working with Haru, Yuya, Assaan-ANU, face to face?
Well, actually, I don't do the back end, so I don't know all the bits and pieces that go into publishing the book. I do the writing part, which was a lot of work, especially when you have someone like Chief Yuya, who is your editor. And so, it's going to come out definitely right. There was a lot of editing that goes through the process. It took a while for this book to come out, a little longer than I had anticipated, but it was to make sure that it was right. That's the one thing when you're working with Chief Yuya, you're going to come out with a beautiful product because he's not going to let anything go through that's not going to be right. So I definitely can't speak to the publishing piece because I don't know that part. But the actual writing piece, it definitely challenges you to grow and expand. My writing changed over the course of writing this book. So from draft to completion through the edit process, I grew as a writer, even with my first book. So I saw a tremendous amount of growth in this process of writing the book, and I definitely owe that all to Chief Yuya.
I I have a question for you also. I would like for you, can you explain the 9 ethers and melanin?
Yes. So I speak about that in the book, chapter 3. So 9 ether and melanin, 2 separate chapters. So I'll speak about melanin first. So melanin I briefly touched on when we spoke about the chemical. So with that chapter, what I'm trying to portray to our young women is to see the power in your hair. So I think a lot of us, we don't realize, we think hair is just hair. Like if you do research, or I'm sure you probably don't, but doing research on natural hair, a lot of the commentary out there is hair is just hair, so who cares? It's perm, relax, whatever. Just do whatever you want, hair is hair. But when it comes to melanated people, it's slightly different. As you can see, even within our ethnicity of melanated people, it's basically one shade of color that our hair basically is. It's pretty much dark brown or black. And it's a lot of power then, especially in the spiral and the shape of our hair, which is linked to the 9 ether hair. If you were to pull a strand of your hair, you would see the number 9 being repeated all throughout the strand. So just briefly, it shows our connection to the cosmos, that melanin, that feminine energy, that womb energy. So it shows us that there is more power in our hair. This is also how we receive messages through our hair. Their hair is, again, like antennas. It grows towards the sun. And this is how we receive messages from nature and the cosmos. And again, it's about tapping into that natural self, getting more in alignment with your reading your natural self. So that's just what I'm trying to portray with melanin, is that it's very powerful and it's a part of your hair, but it's also all throughout your entire being. As well as the 9 ethers, another expression of our relationship with the cosmos. Because the ethers, again, as we've learned here at ANU Spiritual Training, in Lesson 5, it's the Akashic force. It's the element that created all the other elements. And this is what created, us. So I'm trying to show, again, for those who may have chemicals and think it's because this is what you should look like, this is the image of power in society. Actually, the opposite. It's like just being in touch with your melanated skin, your melanated hair, your melanated being. That's where that power really relies, because that's the power of the universe. That's what we are an expression of. So those 2 chapters, I kind of speak to that. So again, help our young women to see the beauty and the power in their entire being, as well as, of course, their hair.
I have just one more quick question. Now, do you think that the natural hair movement is here to stay? And in what ways?
I believe so. I believe it's not just a fad, like maybe back in the days where we had the big afros back in, Angela Davis had the power.
Yes, I remember.
That kind of waned, and we had the perms coming back and relaxes and everything. But now I believe, as Yuya says often, that the new magic is the study. So people are getting smarter and starting to wake up. So now people may now look at a book like this and say, okay, natural hair healing, what is this about? Where before it may be like, something that they could care less about. But now I think if, everyone is starting to wake up and awaken, especially us melanated people. And we're trying to get more in tune with our natural self and be more of a reflection of nature. So I think now it's not so much of a trend, especially when you see women who are in their 40s and 50s who are doing it, because most of, older women, they don't jump on a bandwagon or something like that. Now, when you see all different ages of women doing this, it's certainly a sign that, okay, now people are starting to wake up. They want to be healthier. They want to go natural. They want to eat healthier. So most people that I meet that just start going natural, now they're thinking about being vegan, or they're thinking about questioning their spirituality, to study metaphysics. People want to seek truth now. So I personally think that it's here to stay. I think it's still a process because everyone's not natural, of course. But I think more people are waking up to it, but it won't be so much of a trend. I think people that do it will still kind of stick. As long as, again, they have access to information that, is valuable. So hopefully they'll pick up natural hair for young women and see that, okay, here are some tips. Because some people do kind of go natural and they'll go back because, they say, well, I didn't have enough information. I didn't know how to actually manage my hair, and I didn't know anything about natural hair. So I'm trying to cover it more holistically, so I can give you the spiritual background as well as the physical and practical concepts of being natural. So hopefully it's here to stay, and it will open up doors for them to explore more aspects of themselves that they would like to change for the better.
Okay, Ashe. I have one more important question, and this is coming from more of a Pan-Africanist type of point of view. I would like to, can you compare and contrast our hair against the fur of others?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Can you please compare or contrast natural hair against the hair or the fur of others?
Oh, okay.
I hope it wasn't one of those I gotcha questions.
No,
I hope it wasn't.
Okay, you're asking
yes.
Fisher to compare our hair with non-African hair?
Yes.
Oh,
yes. You said it nicer. Okay.
Well, okay. So I would say that my non-ether chapter kind of speaks to that a little bit, where I don't compare and say her, but so much I speak, or even the first chapter, what is natural hair as well, speaks to that. It's kind of just identifying that, again, that we are natural melanated beings, and we have natural elements. Like our hair is actual natural hair. Even if you look up the definition of natural, you'll see it'll say like Afro. So it shows you what's considered natural. So I would say that it's just something that is natural versus something that's not synthetic, but something that's not of a natural element or of a natural material.
Ashe. You know, Sister Felicia, once again, we just want to thank you for presenting this information. And,
how can we purchase the book? How can we purchase the book?
Oh,
that's a good question.
I'm sorry. No, I was just trying to say that again, that's also a theory that other people have first. So I basically speak to our natural hair, what it's made out of, and again, our expression and how it expresses itself within the cosmos.
So, Sister, that book can be purchased at the...
Of course, it's furs for animals, so,
Okay. Well, the ANU order, the ANU bookstore has this book for sale online, correct?
Correct.
Now, I don't have the email address in front of me, but I believe it's anu-bookstore.com. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Sounds good. I'm going to check that. But while I do, I want to also introduce two of our colleagues, who are, along with you, some of the most active students that we have. And Sister Celeste, are you there?
I'm here.
Ashe. And Sister L, are you there? I heard a piece of you. Are you there, Sister L? Okay. While we work, if you are having problems getting on, Sister, read down that number, and usually we can get through to you that way. But in the meantime, Sister Felicia, you will be able to stay with us, right?
Absolutely.
Excellent, because what I would like you all to do is for Sister Celeste to introduce herself, talk a little bit about her journey there, and then I would like all three of you all to talk about your duties and responsibilities, because the ANU order is more than just reading about Orisha. We do a lot of work, and you all are in the forefront of that. So, Sister Felicia, Celeste, I'm sorry, would you introduce yourself and tell us how you found your way to the order? Thanks.
Yes, Alafia to all, and congratulations to all of you all. I am very privileged to see and witness all of you all's progress and just seeing the fruits of your coming to pass. It's so exciting to see.
Hey.
Congratulations. Well, even coming off of what Sister Felicia has even talked about with natural hair and why she deemed it important to share that wealth of information is kind of blends into my journey, even with coming to ANU. And I had to find at one point in time that my life was deemed a commodity for society to capitalize off of. And from birth or before birth, we are accounted for to be in a commodity. And when you become awakened in your Egeans and your ancestors and your spirit guide starts to show you that things in your life is not real and that has been laid down to control you for a commodity sake, then one thing that you will start with inside, and it will gravitate towards the outside. One of my first professions was hair care. And I did witness a lot of women who was having a lot of issues with their hair. And I used to have to tell them that what you do on the outside is only secondary. It's what you do on the inside first. And I had to apply that to my own life and realize that even my hair was a commodity for someone else. And if I wanted to be a healthy resource of information to other women, that I had to start with understanding myself first. And cleansing myself of all the stereotypes and all the energies that people put on women to make us a commodity. And that awakened me to spirituality, because that will lead you to really finding out who you are, why you're here, what's your purpose. And with a new training, that is the first step you're going to come to. You don't go past to B and leave point A. You have to start with point A before you can go to point B. So it really has made me focus even more interior, on the orrery, on the soul, unlocking all the stuff that has been placed upon me that was not true, that was false, and waking ourselves up to the real.
Ashe. Before we get to the exact duties that you're doing, and including the incredible artwork you do, we want to introduce Sister L, who is able to get back on, and then we'll talk about your duties and responsibilities. Sister L, are you there?
Hello, I'm here.
Ashe. Hey, Ashe. Sister L.
Brother, inform me.
Would you please introduce yourself and tell us about your journey, your walk into the ANU order, please?
Okay, I just wanted to say thank you, Brother Wole and Brother Ifawumi and Felicia and Celeste, because the last time you guys were on and you did a podcast, it was great, and I was like, I need to join the Facebook group so that I could be abreast of everything that's going on. I just wanted to say thank you guys for, participating and encouraging me to participate as well. So I came to the ANU order kind of through the back way, actually. I was looking at different stories online, just trying to figure out different things. I came out as a Christian tradition, and I just wasn't satisfied with it, and I wanted something else. So I was looking at different stories, different mythologies and things, and I realized I didn't know any African mythology. So when I looked it up, I got Haru's podcast, and I was like, wow, this is cool. So I was listening to it, and, throughout the first, just getting all the information, it's like, get the book, join the class, get the book, join the class. I got the book, and I joined the free class, and I was doing a lot of work through there, and I just found that my life changed almost dramatically, like within a matter of months. I was just really like, okay, this is fun and it's worth it. So I kept going with it, you know, and I was just like, okay, this is good. So then I joined the class, I joined the Facebook group with you guys, and, you know, now I'm here talking about my journey with you.
Outstanding. Yo, I really like exactly what you and Celeste shared with us. Felicia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, blessings. Before I ask you this question, I'm going right back to your hair care for 1 minute so I can just get this off my chest. It's an important subject to talk about. My question basically is, it has been proven through research that natural hair or afro hair is hair. It has also been proven that the hair of others is considered fur. It's considered fur, and the sad part about it is that fur basically is coming from their beginnings. I wouldn't say beastly beginnings, but from their beginnings, they've always had that straight hair like an animal fur. And the question that I have to you, well, a statement actually, have we gotten to, we really don't know ourselves if we are going to go out here and mimic those images that we're shown through media, that this is a beauty standard. You know, that is not a beauty standard. Fur is not a beauty standard. You know, I'm so proud of you, and my hat is off to you for doing such an exceptional job as to come out and to explain exactly what natural hair is.
Yes, exactly. And that's why that was the first chapter in the book, because I think no one explores that. And you touched on it perfectly. There is a difference between different forms of hair. You know, there is a form of hair, but what we have is natural hair, and we are melanated beings. So again, you know, I would again say that we represent again what's natural, what's an expression of nature, where other forms of hair are a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, fur is basically not hair. So
okay.
We talk about it in the book because it's not natural. It's not hair. So that's why, again, I try to stress these different points in the book, 9-ether hair, the melanin and everything, for them to see what we naturally are and what we naturally express versus going into explaining what other people have. I kind of highlight what we have so that they can see the beauty and the power in that. And again, like you mentioned, yes, fur is definitely not hair. It's not natural, and it's on animals. So
okay.
I speak to highlight what we have and what highlights us and the beauty and the power of us.
Okay, but the next question here is concerns Sadulu House Christians. I said, no, I did not say Christian. I mean spiritual. No, I did not just say that. Okay. I would like to know what brought you to Sadulu House Spiritual Center?
Okay, so I came around 2.5 years ago, and at that time the classes were in person. And I came through way of reading. So I was seeking healing. He was randomly, surprisingly, in a metaphysics shop that I would go to frequently. But one day I just wanted to get a reading, and he was there, and it's just an oddball situation where I'm like, what is he doing here? But it just, everything aligned. It was kind of like, this is the person I needed to meet. This is where I needed to be. And ever since then, I've been here. My life has changed dramatically. Like I was saying, I was seeking, I was searching, I was looking, and I found. And that started even with the hair. At that time, I think I was transitioning out of my, when I actually met CC. And then I was still shifting out of my fear phase because I came from a Christian background, and I'm like, okay, what is this stuff? I've never heard of this stuff before when I first came around. An Orisha or, the Yoruba traditions. I mean, I've had Nigerian friends, but I didn't know the spirituality behind it. So this was all very new to me at the time, and I was a little fearful because I had the Christian thing, like, you're going to go to hell or demons and all the stuff that you see on TV. It kept me a little scared, but once I kept being more receptive to teaching, then I just shifted quickly to absorb it, and I've been here ever since. And that continues to grow, and it's been a phenomenal experience and surreal. I can't even still believe I'm here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Brother Wally have a question.
Yes, I do. I wanted, we're getting ready to go to a break in about 5 minutes, but I was hoping before we went to the break, each of our students on the panel could tell us some about their extra roles and responsibilities in their order. And then we go to the break and come back and we can talk all about it. Sister Felicia, since we're talking to you, you do a lot more than write books. You administer websites, you put out all kinds of announcements. Could you tell us about some of the extra things you do? And then we'll hear from Sister Celeste.
Sure, absolutely. Well, like I said, I'm an administrator on the ANU Spiritual Training Group, which is a private group. So there I kind of chime in once in a while to share information, but I do a lot of promoting of what's going on in the ANU order. So a lot of his interviews, a lot of his shows, articles, student articles. I do a lot of promoting of that kind of, sharing news so that more students can come in, as well as to celebrate the work. As as well as just monitor what's going on in the group to make sure everything stays peaceful and in order. And also I do some work as well as on videos and sharing against more of the work of the podcast that CPI does, and a lot of just administrative work I do like on the back end when it comes to correspondence and emails and stuff like that students can have.
Fantastic. Sister Celeste, would you tell us, we were, all three of us were administering a group website on Facebook at one time, but would you tell us more about the artwork that you produce and your other activities?
Oh, sure. It was just another, I guess, awakening moment Maya Goon sent to me, and just one day told me to pick up a piece of wood and make something of it. And I started really connecting with the wood, and the wood started speaking to me, and it comes out to wherever it speaks. It has been very transforming and meditative for me, and it has evolved over time, and I'm very sorry for it. However, I think my responsibility, and according to the group, is just to be a very good, healthy student, and to do all that I can to show my support to the training, to the students, to Jegna. When I put myself into something, I try very hard to be a person of my word and stick to it. And I think that in African communities, we need that type of character amongst each other, is that through the good and the bad, we stick together. And I think that that's my responsibility right now, is to continue to be healthy and supported.
Ashe, and you do a great job of it. You're probably the most active person on our website. You do everything from participating in other people's threads to starting threads of your own, to challenging, students to stay focused and stay on track.
A motivator.
So, yes, you're definitely a special person, one of a kind in our group. Sister L, would you tell us? I understand you have started doing more writing with the group. Would you tell us about your responsibilities with that?
Oh, okay. Well, I decided to write for the blog, SaduLaHouse.com, and I think I'll post something on Orisha religion because last night's Friday's broadcast was about Orisha Oba. But I write, basically, I listen to you guys' show, the ANU Asafo. There's great things that are being done here, and I'm really excited. any topics that you guys talk about, I just pick something that is engaging, and I talk about it, and I write about it, and then I post it, and hopefully just kind of funnel more people into listening to the show in the archive. So, I mean, it's really easy with you guys, and topics that you guys choose is really good. And I also write blogs for Foundational Fridays, so those topics, as you all know, are better than a bucket of chicken, like Issa Wume said last Sunday. And just take those topics and whatever is engaging, and I try to kind of expound a little bit on what I've learned and what I feel about the topic, and just kind of funnel more people into listening to the show, because obviously all the jewels and the gems are with the podcast that Peru does. So, I mean, that's basically what I'm doing. Anyone can write. I think you can just email Omilade or Sadulu House and just ask, do you want to contribute? As well, it would be great to have more contributors for the website and the show. So this is, what I'm doing right now, and I'm really excited to continue on, and I hope you guys like my writing. As a writer, you get a little insecure, but I think it's the topics are really easy. You guys are very engaging, so.
Sister L, your writing is outstanding, and I love your writing. You got to keep up the good work.
No, thank you.
Her artwork is beautiful too.
Yeah, and thank you for that. Yours too. I really enjoy it. I hope you post more pictures of them.
Well, I want to be the first person.
Beautiful artwork. Yeah.
I want to be the first person to come to Celeste's art show. The first person. Your work is outstanding. It's outstanding. I was floored.
Really?
You shared it with. I was really, really floored. You got to make sure that I get my invitation. I want to be there.
And we will talk about these things and more on the other side of this break.
Greetings, one and all, and thank you for listening to ANU Asafo this Sunday. I am now bringing you the ANU Nation announcements on this beautiful segment of ANU Asafo. We want to first thank you for tuning in once again and being a supporter and participant in this journey of the Asafo as dictated and governed by our ancestral call. We would also like to thank our Chief Jegna, Yuya Assaan-ANU of the ANU Spiritual Order and head instructor of the Sadulu House Spiritual Center for his continued guidance and support. Please make sure to tune in to Chief Jegna Yuya Assaan-ANU during his Foundational Fridays broadcast, which airs at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Blog Talk Radio. Also, please tune in next week on October 6th as we bring you the stellar Oba Mpu, who is going to share his knowledge and discuss African spirituality. On October 13th, we have the amazing Kwesi Ra Nahem Pata Akan. And on October 20th, we will be bringing you Mwalimu Baruti, the author of Complementarity, as well as Homosexuality and Effeminization of African Males, to discuss homosexuality in traditional African religious settings. Also, if you are an Umfundi, please join us on ANU Asafo on the 4th Sunday of each month, where, like today, you will be a part of an open panel discussion on the topics of divination, African spirituality, and Pan-Africanism. If you are currently an Umfundi in the New Spiritual Order and you would like to participate on the show on October 27th, please respond to the link on the ANU Spiritual Training Facebook page or email omilade@saduluhouse.com. That is omilade@saduluhouse.com. Also, in other happenings, please check out our fellow Umfundi and guest panelist Felicia Terrell-Anu's book, Natural Hair for Young Women, which can be found at anu-bookstore.com. That is ANUBOOKSTORE.com. Also, look out for our forthcoming book on shell readings, which will be covering the sacred 16 major Odu and the casting of the Meriden Logun. And now, back to ANU Asafo.
Peace and blessings. And welcome back to a new Asafo Radio with Brother Ifawumi Oshundele. And also with
Brother Wole Ifa. We are here with the Umfundi of the Anu priestly order, the student class. We're having a big discussion. We've been introduced, and we've had roles and responsibilities kind of expressed to us. But want to talk more. Brother Ifawumi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, and I have several other questions to discuss with our Umfumbis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You were having a likely little mix there before we had to break for break. You were talking about buying some of Sister Celeste's artwork.
Yes, okay. And I enjoyed her artwork. She really shows the talent, exceptional talent.
Mm-hmm. Sister Celeste, while we're on the subject, are you selling anything at the moment?
No, I don't sell anything. I usually give things away as gifts.
I see. So it sounds like we're going to have to get you an agent, huh?
There'll come a day when that'll happen. Right now, spiritually, I like to send them out as gifts.
I hear you. You know, I say some African art history, and the images can be so powerful. And not only in terms of what they represent, but as symbolic representation used for teaching young people and things. The images are so powerful. You do wood carving.
I know.
That's something I don't see too much among African Americans.
Right.
Would you tell us this to the wood carving and what it entails? You know?
Oh, yeah. Well, I learned later that I have an uncle who his craft was wood carving. So it definitely has an Eglu lineage that I never knew, but later found out. However, the wood that I get, I always go into nature. It's never commercial wood. The tools that I use, I started out in a fast-paced type of world. I started using a Dremel. And it's something about the Dremel tool that just was not getting into the wood like I needed to or fast enough. And that Ogun energy spoke to me and said, you need to use a hammer and some knives. And I started picking up some hammers and knives. And my work just started flowing fluently. Haven't picked up the Dremel since. Now, if I want to sand something down, I may use a Dremel or a sanding instrument. But as far as the carving is concerned, it's with a hammer and chisel. And they're very... Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you, Sister Celeste, and it's concerning your training for the priesthood.
Mm-hmm.
What areas of African spirituality do you best feel most comfortable? Is it ancestral healing, African medicine, elder, or counselor?
The healing. And I think, yes, and as you guys were talking earlier about the Black Caucus and governmental structures, we're talking about unhealthy structures. And when you have unhealthy structures and you're having people who are flowing to the unhealthy structure, you're going to continue to get sickness. So we need more healers. And our ancestors are there. And sometimes there's healing that needs to be transpired in the ancestral realm first and get that healthy. And I think when we can get that foundation of who we are through our Egum and through us, and then we won't gravitate anymore to the unhealthy industry.
Ashe. Ashe.
Mm-hmm.
I have same question. Ellie, are you there? Is Elle there? Okay, apparently.
do you feel that your coursework is preparing you for the greater challenges in African spirituality? And in what ways has your training prepared you thus far to reach those goals?
Well, I mean, I'm still a student. I think that it's definitely prepared me in a way that, or begin my journey here in self-healing, because I think dealing with people, there's a lot of egoic things and just personality issues that might arise that you don't necessarily need to deal with if you find yourself in a place of wholeness. So when it comes to like challenges dealing with people and maybe a greater coursework, I think where I am at right now is just building, my sense of wholeness to that place where I can really give something great to someone else. So right now, I think for me, it's been a phenomenal journey. It's just been like, I don't know if it's the same for anyone, but like coming out of a Christian tradition, it's so refreshing, and it's so much information just to like learn and go through, and that's a lot of fun for me. So, and then to find that, digging deep within myself and coming out just a true version of who I am is a beautiful experience. So I would say to that question is I'm still learning, and I think that as I grow, that I'll be able to actually give myself away in a positive and a constructive manner.
Ashe. Great answer, sister. Sounds like the future is bright. We have another question. I guess this is to the entire panel. The questioner asks, what is the difference between the Ile in the New World and the notion of a spiritual order, a classical spiritual order? Anybody want to field that question?
Well, Ile is a smaller community where there's more intimate connection amongst the people. And it sounds like when you're talking about more of a worldly order that's a bit more broad. The Ile. Mm-hmm.
I think what he meant was the spiritual order, such as our school, the Sadulu house, as opposed to a diasporan Ile.
That may have. I know some of us are involved with or have been involved with Iles in the past, and I guess the question is asking, how is what we're involved with now different than your experience in Iles in the New World? I can say a quick thing. What the ANU spiritual order is not a paternalistic organization. We don't have a father. We don't call our chief Jegna, who is of course Haru Yuya Assaan-ANU. We don't call him Baba. And we are not treated like his children. We don't have monthly dues to pay. It's a learning. If speaking for myself and the ANU order, I find it an institution of learning, academic institution. So I paid one small, modest price to enroll in the classes. There are a series of online classes, and there it's been a learning thing and a growing thing, but not a paternalistic thing. Anybody has anything to add to that?
Yes, I do. Sure. I have so much to add to that, but I'm going to go ahead and let Elle speak.
Well, I haven't actually had any experience in a different Ile besides this one, so I could second what our brother Wole said. Is definitely a learning and growing experience, and I find that I'm having a lot of fun as well doing it. So that's I think a little new for me. So yeah.
If I may, I am a part of the Ile here local, and there is a vast difference, but yet both are beneficial. And for the first reason I stated, having a local elay, you get to have a very practical, hands-on experience with other people. You have more of an intimate connection with other people and learning to work what you learn with other people and see it how it comes together. Because of the distance that I have with the Sadulu house, and I do it online, one thing that I get more out of our new nation opposed to the elay is that there's a freedom to learn and expand more. You don't stay stuck in one form of tradition. There's a varied of African traditions that you'll study and you'll tap into, and you're not controlled just into one particular mind frame. That's one reason why I transitioned even out of Christianity, because you have so many different churches on every corner, yet they all call themselves the body of Christ, but everybody has such a different way of saying, no, you do it this way. And don't go visit those people over there because they don't do it like we do it. So you have to stay right here. And it's a controlled environment. With our new order, you can study various of traditions, and it's okay. You learn how they all blend together and work together. So that's what I appreciate about it.
May I add something to because likewise, I haven't really been a part of an elay other than the ANU elay. And again, we used to have classes in person. But it was different from what you've described from us in traditional elays. And that's what I appreciate about the ANU order. Like, you'll learn in his book, he would always say other elays, they won't teach you the OB5 divination until a year later. You can't give offerings to your Orisha other than give them to your Baba, to the grandchildren. So this was an unorthodox format, which I was very fortunate to have, because what he was describing, it seems like he would kind of be set back if he didn't have the honor of being a part of the ANU order, because we can do the divination right away. Just pick up the book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power, and you can do 55, 59, you can give offerings on your own, he gives you spiritual baths. So I really like that he gives you access to all this information right away. And I didn't even realize that it was another way. I thought this is how it is. So he was showing how it's a very, it's an honor what he gives us. It's a gift that he gives us. Traditionally, I guess other elays kind of make you go through a longer process or put your dues and, a lot of rituals that he could make us do because he is an initiated priest, but he kind of gives us that freedom and he allows us to take it all in and learn and then, of course, move on to bigger and better things.
Ashe. I can say one thing, and let me be so candid. You all know that I will be very, very candid all the time. There's a tremendous difference in a elay and the Sadulu House Spiritual Center. And I'm going to say it, and I'm just going to keep it real. First of all, where the school comes in at, it teaches you leadership. It teaches you leadership because after all, studying to be priests, be leaders in our communities. Also, Chief Yuya, our head Chief Jegna, he does not hoard knowledge the way most diasporan elays do. He shares the gems. He drops gems around you all the time for your own spiritual growth. The ego. In your first phase one of training, that ego is being actually put to a test to deflate that ego. There's no fear mongering. That's the first thing he attacks. Fear. Some of them keep you in fear. Also, it's not about greed, power, status, and none of that kind of stuff. The Sadulu House Spiritual Center is basically you're taught a system of devotion and spirituality. And Chief Yuya, in the Sadulu House, he's producing quality initiates. He's giving you the training before you have an initiation. He's actually developing you to be a person of moral fiber, integrity, and respect. He also teaches you about the Orishas. The Orishas are not tools for war. He lets you know your spiritual initiation, that does not equal enlightenment. He lets you know that immediately, as opposed to the aspirin, and which everybody wants you to want a crown quick, fast, in a hurry. You know, you don't know anything. You don't know no more than the person who don't place that crown on your head. And if you want to be a great piece, he also teaches you the importance of being humble and showing compassion. Because he's gotten on to me. He told me one time, and I didn't take it the hard way, I took it as love. He said, Brother Ifa, you need to up your vibration. That stopped me in my track. What have I done to deserve that comment? But you know what? He was right. I appreciate somebody being honest with me. I just have to just take me along. You understand what I'm saying?
Gosh, thanks.
Now, he has taken the time to develop a training curriculum that will prepare well-rounded and knowledgeable priests in the spiritual community. Now, everybody, all of us know, phase one is no cakewalk. You have to deal with yourself. We are Oris. And you also know that it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of your time. And you will grow. If you do what you're supposed to do, he's giving you the tools. If you do what you're supposed to do, you will grow spiritually.
Let me ask you a follow-up question on what you're talking about. And is somebody else trying to get in to say something? I want to ask about the learning. I heard a voice, but I guess if you want to talk, just pop on in. I don't want to monopolize, but how does the learning process in the ANU order lead to a re-Africanization process? You know, if that is clear.
Re-Africanization. Yes, it is.
Re-Africanization in terms of finding your own way to African culture and deprogramming.
Yeah, may I? I think that's what led me to embrace the ANU order when I came, because I came, like I stated earlier, out of Christianity, and it just didn't really resonate with me, at least the way it was taught. And it, the images of Christianity, it's just not our image, the way it's taught. But coming into the ANU order, it definitely has helped to re-Africanize. I could speak for myself. Again, that's when I started to change my diet, change the way I think. I started to change everything because I realized how I was so programmed where I just wasn't aware of what I should be doing. So now it's like, oh, wow, here's the truth. So that's why I feel like I was really starving for this type of information. So it definitely has helped to get me back right on track where I'm getting more in alignment with my natural self and more of my African tradition self.
Ashe, that's great. That's a great answer. In my personal experience with the re-Africanization process, I find that one of the big differences, most humbly, is that when I was dealing with elays and other basically New World type interpretations, I was hearing and learning about New World type of interpretation of the traditional. Since coming to the ANU, the priestly order, what is interesting is we don't just deal with Ifa, or we don't just deal with one of the other systems. We deal with, we respect the differences, but we also acknowledge the similarities. So to me, it's a re-Africanization because I'm not just dealing with somebody telling me about supposedly how ancient Yoruba land was a couple hundred years ago or thousands of years ago, but I deal with a more inclusive, a more research-oriented learning process. So I'm learning more about Africa by looking at the African traditional spirituality in its holistic way, not just in one specific type of tradition or another. Would anybody like to add anything to that before we we head to our close?
Yes, I just wanted to...
Okay.
Oh, is that you, Sylvia? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Please do.
Okay.
Keep going.
I just wanted to second what Felicia said. Just as for me, as I'm approaching like my truer self, I realize that the things that I like and that that resonate with me most truly is Africanness. And when I'm going through like these different my studies and things, and I can see where my mind is programmed by Christianity or white supremacy. I can just, the work that I'm doing sort of unlocks those chains that are in my mind. So I think that the process of just going through the work, as we were all saying, is very important. It's just not about taking the information in, it's actually doing the work is what's going to unlock, as for me anyway, unlocks those chains of just oppression that, keeps me away from my true self. And as I approach that core, my soul, it's just obvious I'm African, and that's what I want to be, and that's who I am.
Ashe.
Brother Wole and Brother Ifawumi, I just want to say you guys are doing a beautiful job on the show every week. I think it's amazing. I'm sure the show's going to continue to do very well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
My question basically is,
what would you tell a potential student about the Sadulu House Spiritual Training Center? About your level of training?
Well, I would say that if you really want to come into your own identity, your own purpose, it's definitely a good place to start because you have a leader who is going to be a leader and not a dictator. You're not going to have someone who gives you just a little bit of information so you can keep coming back and keep you stuck. No, he makes you do the work of yourself and makes you stand and be strong all on your own. And if you want to come into your own right, your own self-empowerment, then this is definitely a great place to start.
I see. Anyone else?
Yes. Yeah, I would say what I would think is great, I would tell a potential student, is one that it's, for me, this information, I don't know, it just seems like it's something that's just, it's truth. It really resonates to your spirit and your soul when you first hear it. And I would suggest that you absorb it, because what I like about the ANU order is that you can go at your own pace. So unlike when you're in a class in person, you may feel a little, maybe, okay, I can't keep up or whatever, but this the way it's designed, I think is great. So you can get the lectures online, you can go at your own pace and absorb it as long as you like. Another thing I like is what I would tell is that I like that it's not religious. So it's not like you come here and you're going to just be committed to a certain Orisha or something like that. He teaches us everything. He shows us the correlations in all systems, and I really, really like that, because from there somebody can go off and maybe study Hinduism if they want to, or whatever they want to get into. It's kind of like that's open here. No one's going to say that's shunned upon or whatever. So I really like that. He teaches you all different systems. He teaches you how to think. You can go at your own pace, and it's accessible. It's very, very, very affordable. Very affordable. So that's what I think is amazing. I stand and believe sometimes how affordable like his readings are, his classes are. So I think it's an amazing thing.
Definitely. Well, I think I would tell an incoming student that, if they were worried about dogma or anything like that, it doesn't exist here. And just like Felicia was saying, like if you are wanting to come into your own power, you want to know what your own purpose is, and you're willing to do the work, this will be a great place for you. You're not gonna find just some, that weird, scared tactic stuff that you get a lot that I experience a lot of when I'm studying, when I did go to church and things like that. So this, what I find here is, like Felicia said, just truth, and you have to deal with that, and that's always, it's always been a growing and beautiful experience. So.
Okay. Haru Yuya Assaan-ANU was just interviewed on a Blog Talk radio show the other day, and he talked about I believe it was on Sister Nikki Love's show, and she asked a question about the order in which a question was called in, asking about divination and where does that play in the system of things. And Haru Yuya said that divination is the first step to understanding our destiny, the path, where we at, what went on yesterday, today, and what may go on tomorrow if we continue on the same road. I did all that because I want to ask you all about what would you like to, maybe not the distant future, but the short-term future. What are some of your goals, and are they tied to a reading that you got? I got a reading from the Chief Jegna, and it was the best reading I've gotten. And he gave me a number of things to do. And basically, my short-term goal is to just try to do the ebos and ademus that he told me about, to try to balance myself to be prepared for phase 2 of our instruction, which dealing with the spirits, or commonly dealing with the Orisha, voodoo, things of that nature. Is that basically where everybody's looking short-term, or do we have other short-term goals? I'm sure for you, Sister Felicia, you want to market that book and get out on the tour circuit. Can you tell us about your plans with that?
Absolutely. Well, I'm just still getting the books out to first, as you mentioned in the Style Gallery. I wanted to thank all the salons that participated, and of course ask them to help market, put a review on Amazon, and also just push the word out, press releases, going to salons, going to events and stuff like that to kind of help contribute to the book doing well. Because again, everything that motivates me is family oriented. So my family is the first priority for me, and it's what inspires me to do everything I do, even my spiritual work. So even spiritually, in terms of other goals, it would be doing divination, as well as longer term goals. I would like to help with, like, say, retreats, stuff like that, where it's extending out to the community and practicing what we've been learning through the ANU order and actually putting that into practice. And, for me, it's always to help push my family's vision forward.
I see. And that retreat you referred to, that's the ANU retreat, correct?
Well, I was seeking a longer term goal, even those as well. If that's a part of it, I would like to help people, if I can, in capacity, on retreats. Whatever type of way I could help, whether it's a divination or a healing piece, that my part could be helping to disseminate and put into application what someone may need to heal themselves. That I'm really interested in doing. Yeah, the healing part is big for me, because that's the big focus on myself. So I like to kind of help others heal as well, which is also relevant from, the book that you have for young women. Anything with healing or divination, I'm still learning, so I can help others as well. Any capacity where I could kind of do that.
Ashe. Does anyone else have any short-term goals that include anything other than progressing to phase 2 in the ANU teachings? If not, I wanted to piggyback off something the sister said, but I don't want to. Is anybody else? Nobody else? Sister Felicia, you talked about, helping people, and that brings to mind something I've noticed about books that are published by the ANU Press. Of course, we all know and heard of Grasping the Roots of Divine Power by the Chief Jegna, Haru Yuya Assaan-ANU. But something that I find unique about the books of the ANU publishing, like yours and like the Chief's other book called Solutions for Dysfunctional Family Relationships, that book and Your Natural Hair for Young Women both mix in, if I may say, the metaphysical with the physical. Your book talks about hair, and some people believe hair is the antenna to the spirit, you know. But when you bring in the chapter on melanin, ether hair, and things of that nature, you're bringing in some of the metaphysical concerns that deal with hair care, just like in Haru Yuya's book called Solutions for Dysfunctional Family Relationships. He doesn't just talk about, oh, well, this is the Western model and this is how it's supposed to go and everything else is dysfunctional. He talks about, the subtitle is called Healing and Avoiding the Aftermath of Cross-Cultural Unions and the Suicidal Family. He talks about people who might have one tradition and their wife or husband or spouse has another, and children being caught in the middle of that. And many times that change might happen when the two people meet, and then one progresses spiritually into African traditional religion and leaves behind the Muslim, Islamic, Christian thing, but the other partner has not. And then the kids are caught in the middle. So, but what I'm talking about is just the metaphysical aspect that you all bring to the products coming out of the ANU Publishing Company, which makes it easy for me to buy anything that is produced. Because, you know, I know that there'll be worldly knowledge and metaphysical knowledge.
It's holistic. Everything, all the books have a holistic approach. The spirit is in everything. So, definitely. Yeah, just right up. I'm sorry?
Is that by accident, or is there a consensus or an idea to bring the metaphysical into the physical world, to show how it's useful in everyday life?
Well, I believe it's all intentional. I wouldn't say anything that he does or I do is an accident. And everything, again, is spiritual. So it's definitely going to be expressed in any work actually that comes out of ANU. So it's definitely intentional, and it's a holistic approach so that you don't, which is more Western, where you isolate everything. So instead of me just writing a book on how to take care of your hair and go natural, it's kind of like, well, let me explain the deeper aspects of your hair, which relates to your body, your mind, and your spirit. So they can get the whole picture. Even with family relationships, I love that book. It's showing people, instead of haphazardly starting to relationships together, this can be the product if you don't look at it from a spiritual concept, if you're not growing together. This is the aftermath, and this is what happens to your children. It happens to you. So I definitely believe that it's all intentional, because it's needed. You have to give the whole picture. I don't think anyone can benefit. I look at it like you go to the doctors. If you tell me, okay, I have to get glasses because I can't see, that's just going to heal the surface. It won't correct the problem. If you're really trying to help people, you got to get to the core root of the problem. So I could probably have, a lung issue that's related to the eyes. Let's fix the lung issue instead of just telling me to get glasses. So that's what these work for. They try to get to the core problem so it can actually heal people.
Ashay, that's great. This is Cecile, did I hear you? Okay, so go ahead.
Can I would love to add a nugget to this whole topic about hair and even about the difference in our hair and Caucasian hair. Scientifically and metaphysically, our hair coils up. Our strand is a coil. And if you think about the coiling and it goes up, it's like an antenna. Caucasian hair has a flat strand, and it lays down, and they have to have a laying down of a flat hair because they migrated from a colder climate, which they needed the fur, they needed the hair to cover their body from the cold climate. But our hair coils up as an antenna, and it would make sense that they would try to destroy our hair because it's a form of communication. So that's a good scientific and metaphysics, look into why our hair is the way it is.
Ashay.
And on that to that too, to me also it points to our home. Our hair points up, like you said, towards the cosmos, the universe. Theirs points down to the earth. This is what they have. Like, we're not from this So I think that also shows the difference as well between our hair and, again, other forms of hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have a lot to be proud of. We have an antenna straight up.
Exactly.
I see. You know, it's interesting that whether a person is quote unquote in the conscious community or not, these products can be used by anybody. Because the Natural Hair for Young Women book, the Solutions for Dysfunctional Family Relationships book, this can be used by Christians, Muslims, Jews. It is not spiritually specific. But then at the same time, if one is into consciousness raising, melanin, ether, and understand what those words mean, these products also are right in line there. It's sort of like homeschooling and private education. One can do the straight-ahead curriculum or bring in metaphysics. I think that's fantastic. Sister LG.
Yeah.
You are doing a lot of work with taking the shows and the content and putting them in written form, and so communicating the message in a different format. So I'm sure after this show you will have as much as you want about natural hair. But,
right, definitely. I'm definitely going to get a copy of that book. I've been natural for a long time, and there's still some things that I've learned out of Alicia's new book, so I'm really excited about it. I've read other natural hair books, and they weren't as good, so this is really exciting.
Thank you. I have a copy for you.
Yeah, cool, good. Getting my name on it, stamped, sent to Denise.
You know, interesting question Brother Ifawumi asked earlier about is this a lasting thing or a fad? I'm on Facebook quite a bit, going from different groups to different groups sometimes, and I noticed that there are it seems like different groups of people, particularly sisters, dealing with hair and natural hair. And I guess I'm asking because some of those groups are closed, and, I always want to go in and say, hey, thanks, sister, y'all just keep doing what you're doing. But Sister Felicia, what is the climate like in the natural hair community? I mean, I would imagine there's some people who are conscious and some people who are not conscious. Some people who
absolutely.
just the style and don't see the significance metaphysically.
Oh, absolutely. Because even when I was doing research for the book, as you'll know, like each chapter I have a quote from all different systems that pertains to that chapter. And I was trying to get some feedback from certain groups. And you could see the climate was mixed. Some people are very conscious. Some groups are, like just dreads and rastas and locks, so they love all that stuff. For some are like, oh, hair is just hair. Like, what are you trying to get at? Why are you asking this question? So sometimes it's not positive feedback, or they're very religious. So somebody maybe, because I was, the question I had posed was I was trying to get quotes about hair from different systems. Most people responded were Christian and some were very religious. So they were putting a dogma out here. Hair is just hair. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. So my view is a little different, as you can tell from the book. But you can just see the climate is very mixed. So everybody that's natural doesn't necessarily mean like what I'm applying in what can happen. That you'll be more in tune with your natural self. You'll be more aware of yourself. You'll be more in tune with your soul. Not everybody. The people with locks, I've had friends with locks, not conscious at all. So again, it's also doing the work. Like I apply, I think when I think of school, like you can have access to all this information. You can even look like it. You're about allowed whatever, but if you're not actually doing the work, it's not going to stick. It won't change you at all. You may look like something, but it won't mean a lot to you if you're not actually doing the work, really understanding what it is that you're doing and why.
I say, Sister Celeste. Why do I keep wanting to call you Cecile? I don't know, There's some Ceciles I know here in New Orleans. I think it's like that. But you have experience actually working with hair. And from what you said, it sounds like you're very knowledgeable about the natural thing. I have a friend who works at one hair salon. She's talking about making a move to a natural hair salon because she has personal problems. Sorry, she has personal problems chemicalizing people's hair because of the damage that chemicals do. But she's concerned about making the turn into the natural hair business. So what I wanted to know from you is how different are the set of skills that are needed doing natural hair versus permed hair, and how difficult is it for people to get out of one field and go into the other?
Well, transition is always hard. It is actually easier to do natural hair than it is chemical processed hair. There's a lot more involved with chemical processed hair. One thing that disgusts me with the industry and the way they started teaching women, black women, how to do hair is that when they get a relaxer, that they would apply it to what's already relaxed and new growth as well. And they would actually re-chemicalize already dead hair, which in return makes that hair break away, fall away. And the more that a person has damaged hair makes that person keep having to come back. So it was a revolving default to people so that it will continue to make clients continue to come back in one way or another. And then the weaves came in. And then that was a hot commodity. I'm going to just sidebar on with this with the weave. What I saw in a documentary as well is that human hair is sacrificed to other gods before it ever gets over here to this country. So people are putting on their crown what's already been laid upon somebody else's shrine to bring their country, their people, prosperity. And we're putting it on our crown. And we're getting poor. We're getting unhealthy. There's a lot of women that I have seen here lately that work in the cosmetology industry. There's been more heart attacks at a younger age with black women. And one thing that we found out is that the smelling of these chemicals was doing it. And it was going into their lungs and going into their bodies and clogging their arteries and causing heart attacks. So if this is doing this to the women who are applying it, it has to be much more damaging even to the clientele. Now, to transition out of it, it's because your mind has been so brainwashed in believing that it's easier, that you would think another way is harder until you just stay with it. It's like a diet. If you go on a diet, you stay in it 7 days, they say, it'll become a habit. So people have to learn that transition over. It's going to be hard at first. I even went through, I even went through, I looked in the mirror and I was like, what did I do moment, you know? And I did the big shot. But keeping with it, it becomes a habit and becomes easier. I'm of old school. We used to wash, condition our hair, braid it up, pick it out the next day to a nice afro, and you're on your way. And that's all we have to do now. We have such beautiful styles that, you know, you don't have to wrap it up from a perm. You don't have to apply all these, hairsprays and gels and things that is causing your hair not to oxidize. If you wonder why people are getting alopecia, they're getting alopecia, that means the removing of the hair where you see the bald spots. It's because of the tension to the scalp, and it's not getting oxidized. Men wearing hats also does that. If you wear a lot of hats, you're not getting oxidation to your scalp, and that will start causing the hair follicle to go dead. It needs air. So a lot of the weaves and the glues and all this stuff is causing the hair knot to get oxidation. So it is very imperative that people understand that and say, within 7 days, you'll be okay. Opposed to losing your life over something cosmetic.
Sister Celeste, Sister LG, and of course, Sister Felicia Assaan-ANU, the author of the latest book from the ANU publishing company called Natural Hair for Young Women. I want to thank you all so much for coming to the show this week and making it absolutely a great learning experience. Thank you so much.
We thank you for your listening support and urge you to become an active participating member. For all those listening, if you'd like to gain a clearer and fundamental understanding of the ANU order, be sure to pick up the book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power. To find out how you can become a student and member of the ANU spiritual order, please visit us at saduluhouse.com. That is SADULUHOUSE.com. Also, if you would like spiritual readings and assistance in your life as it pertains to your spiritual well-being and your divine purpose, please use the contact and scheduling forms to schedule a consultation with our Chief Jegna, Yuya, Assaan-ANU. Those forms are located at orishareligion.com. That is orishareligion.com, as well as are at saduluhouse.com. Also, sign up for the ANU newsletter for the latest happenings in the ANU community. The newsletter can be found by going to anunation.org. That is ANUNATION.org. If you'd like to become an on-air guest or sponsor on ANU Asafo or any of our other broadcasts, please be sure to contact us at questions@anunation.org. That is the word questions@anunation.org. Thank you for your continued support and be well.